Francisco 49ers. And last week, the streak continues from Dallas. Four straight losses, and now for the first time all year, the Saints are out of first place.
It's been frustrating season. Started out as 33, started out, and the league now score. I think it's been frustrating for our players, for our organization, for our fans.
Team quarterback Bobby Hebert leads the Saints to their best start in team history, and they've missed 6 games with a shoulder injury. But the Louisiana local boy is back playing tonight, and to win their division title, a turnaround is desperately needed for the Saints and for this city.
I think it's very important, the Saints have a winning team. When the Saints win on Sunday, it seems like the wood production in this city is a whole lot better.
Tonight, a big game for both the Los Angeles Raiders and the New Orleans Saints on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Boogie for you.
Football and it's time to play. The Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. A cool night here in the Deep South. But inside the Superdome, it will be much warmer, and it will be lacking a sellout crowd on hand. Some 70,000 as the New Orleans Saints meet the Los Angeles Raiders with playoff implications for both teams. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford along with Al Marcus and Dan Dierdorf. Big win for you tonight. One of the final 2 playoff teams could be set tonight. A simple scenario for the New Orleans Saints. They win tonight, they go into the playoffs as a wild card, but they also know they win tonight, and then they beat Phoenix in Phoenix. Atlanta loses to Dallas, and they would win the division. And that would be a first ever for New Orleans to win a division championship. It won't be easy. They've lost their last 4 after 9-1 starts. Tremendous amount of injuries, but they do get starting quarterback Bobby Hebert back tonight. They'll need everything they have against the Raiders, a team that has proved that they can play with the very best. The Raiders have already clinched for a wild card, but they also know they win tonight, beat Kansas City at home next week, and should San Diego upset Denver, they would win the AFC West. So a lot of playoff implications tonight, a lot of pressure, and I guess the setting is right, Al, on Monday night.
You bet, and the Raiders, of course, they do very well on Monday night and have through the years. This team wants to get back on track, though. Last week they had the Buffalo Bills beaten. They blew the game. They didn't get a first down in the last 25 minutes of the game and lost. Tonight they want to get back on track, and when you look at the component parts of the Raiders, things look pretty good. Their running game's fine with Marcus Allen, Roger Craig, and the rookie Mitchell. Their defense, good. They, twice this season, have not scored a touchdown and yet have won both games. Special teams, outside of last week, excellent. But there is an X factor with the Raiders. Jay Schrader is his name, the quarterback. A lot of teams go to the playoffs and they say, if only our quarterback can get hot. That's not the problem. Jay Schrader gets hot every week. He also gets cold every week. That's the problem. What Jay Schrader has to get is consistent. He'll try to start becoming consistent tonight. If he's consistent in January, they could go deep into the month. If he's inconsistent, they'll be out of the playoffs in short order. Tonight he faces a decimated New Orleans Saints team, Dan, a team that, as Frank chronicled, has done very well at the beginning of the year and have lost 4 straight, of course, coming into this one.
And they are really counting on getting Bobby Hebert back tonight. And for good reason. He provides a real emotional lift to this football team. And they look back to that winning record early in the year. The Saints were 6-1 when Hebert was starting. But that was a vastly different New Orleans Saints football team. They have been killed with injuries. They were hoping to have Ironhead Hayward back for tonight's game. Their talented running back, he has been suspended by Coach Jim Mora. He is out for the rest of the season. But maybe what really epitomizes what has happened to the Saints is what has happened at the cornerback position. 2 weeks ago on this team, they had 4 cornerbacks. All 4 of them are hurt. They are gone. There are 3 new guys in their place. The Saints played well offensively during that 4-game losing streak. Where they lost it was defensively. They took a lead into the fourth quarter in all 4 games, lost all 4, and incredibly were outscored 51-7 in the fourth quarter of those 4 losses. Tonight for the Saints is very simple. Their new corners have to keep Timmy Brown, Mervin Fernandez, and Willie Gault, the great trio of wide receivers for the Raiders, out of the end zone.
Jim Mora, who watched his team get off to that 7-0 start and then 9-1 through 10 games, and now just trying to get into the playoffs. In his 6th year here, by far the most successful head coach in the history of this franchise. And here is the situation as we go into tonight's game. If the Raiders win, the Falcons win the West. The 49ers, the Eagles, and the Saints are still alive for that final spot. And you know tonight there are some anxious players watching in Philadelphia and San Francisco. And the Raiders could still win the AFC West title if they win tonight and win next week. And Denver loses to Phoenix. If the Saints win here, the Broncos win the AFC West. The Saints go to the playoffs, and they are still alive with Atlanta for the NFC West title. San Francisco and Philadelphia are gone. And then the Raiders play the Chiefs next week in the Los Angeles Coliseum in a first-round playoff game. They will also meet, but the site will be determined by the winner of next Sunday's game. Repeat after me and win a trip to Maui.
And you can bet there will be, as you said, Al, a lot of nervous players around the league taking this one in tonight. Where will we be? Shall we unpack? Shall we pack? Shall we go home? Those are the intangibles about this game, Dan. Well, as nervous as a lot of players around the NFL are, they can't compete with the guys in the gold pants down there. This is an uptight football team in New Orleans. They have waited a month to get a victory, and they have tried. The effort has been there. But, man, do they desperately need it.
Morton Anderson, and they need a touchback because they've given up more yardage per return than any team in the league, and he will not send this one deep enough into the end zone as Jamie Holland comes out from the goal line up to the 17, and that's a promising start for the Saints because they had been giving up 25 yards per return.
That's
worst in the league.
That's better than a touchdown. He didn't get it into the end zone, but he hung that up almost to where we were, and that would be 50, 60 feet in the air. That's an amazing pick.
Jay Schrader, 53% this year, and lifetime just over 50%. Craig Stark with the Allen and then Bell later. Smith the blocking back. Dalton Brown outside, Fernandez with a bum shoulder, Horton the tight end. Up front they are missing Wisniewski, their Pro Bowl guard at left guard. James Fitzpatrick takes his spot. First down from the 18-yard line. A Schrader gives it to Roger Craig. Picked up on plan B from the 49ers. In the offseason, he picks up 4 against a 3-4 Saints defense. Martin, Wilkes, and Warren up front. Then the great linebackers, Jackson and Swilling on the outside, Mills and Johnson both with bum knees on the inside and hobbling a bit. In the corners, they end detailing it, Lee and Mack with Maxey and Atkins the safeties. They are very vulnerable deep. Second down and 6 from the 22-yard line. That's Brown in motion. 4-man rush. The Raiders pick him up, and Craig takes the pass. And Roger, who's caught more passes than any running back in history, takes it up to the 26-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and 2, and Mark Lee, who was with the 49ers a couple of weeks ago, makes the stop.
Well, and Milton Mack on the other side, Al, the other corner, he just came off the IR a week ago, and for defensive coordinator Steve said, well, he's got to look at it 2 ways. I've got great rushing from the outside with Swilling and Jackson at the linebackers. If I try to go for it, however, I'm going to hang these guys up on the outside on one-on-one coverage, so it's going to be really tough defensively tonight. I think they're going to go most of the time with the zone.
3rd and 2. The fake to Craig. The deep roll by Schrader, and then his pass is caught by Brown, inbounds for a first down at the 40-yard line. Tim Brown, a former Heisman Trophy winner, 3rd year out of Notre Dame, makes his 31st catch of the season, 13-yard game.
And now, just as I said, they go with the zone. They come with the blitz, and they lock up Mark Lee, a 12-year veteran, a former starter with Green Bay, cut by San Francisco, and this is what Brown did to him. He put on a deep move, and the veteran just couldn't get back. And this was man-for-man coverage, and Brown just ate his lunch.
First down, Lee on the left corner. Lined up this time against Gold with Brown in motion. Schrader, great protection, throws underneath to Brown, but that's a short gain up at the 42-yard line as Sam Mills is there to hit him immediately.
That's a good news, bad news play. We saw something that we've known for a long time, and that is Sam Mills might be the best tackler on the football team, and that was a sure tackle on Tim Brown. But Al touched on it in his call of the play. There was absolutely no pass rush by the Saints, and as we have detailed all their problems in their defensive backfield, if they can't pressure Schrader, big problem.
2nd and 6. Brown again in motion. This time more pressure on Schrader, but he gets it away and it's incomplete. The pass intended for Ethan Horton, and the pressure that time put on by the defensive end Frank Warren.
And that's what they really need, Dan. They need the push. So Swilling coming around from the outside, that's a good example if you look at it. With Warren pressuring upfield, Swilling came around on the outside, and he was able to get into it too. There's Horton fighting off the line of scrimmage, fighting Ricky Jackson. Meanwhile, Schrader in trouble back there, and he can't get the completion.
Raiders at the 43 on the game's opening drive. 3rd and 6, and Marcus Allen comes into the game for the first time. And that's Mervin Fernandez in the game for the first time, 86 as well. Schrader lofting one for Ethan Horton, but it is incomplete and off the back of Benny Thompson covering on the play. His back to Schrader, but Schrader's pass is short and incomplete, and it's 4th down.
I think the pass actually hits the Saint right in the helmet. Take a look at this. Let's see if it doesn't hit Maxey. Yeah, it hits Maxey right in the back of the shoulder pads, and there is a serious shot by Thompson put on Horton. This play had a little bit of everything. There's the ball hitting Maxey right in the shoulder pad, but watch this shot right to the face by Benny Thompson, and that is I think that's a hit that many times will draw the flag on the sideline.
Jeff Gossett having a terrific year, averaging 44.5 per boot. Gil Fenerty back to accept it at the 6-yard line, which is always dangerous when you make the catch inside the 10, and he brings it back to the 12, where he's tackled by Elvis Patterson. Another good boot by Gossett, 51 yards. Saints have it when we come back. One of the Saints cornerbacks on the shelf for the rest of the year.
Might have been hit by one of his own players and had surgery on his forearm. Had to have a pin inserted earlier this week.
After a 6-week layoff, back comes Bobby Hebert. 61 as a starter. They'll begin with Fenerty, but we'll see the rookie Fred McAfee a lot. Jordan is the blocker. Martin and earlier the wideouts. We'll also see Floyd Turner a lot. Brenner the tight end. And the line, the guys up front, Cooper, Dombrowski, Hilgenberg, Williams, and the veteran Stan Brock in his 12th year at Colorado. First down at the 13-yard line. And Hebert will go right to the air off the fake and completes his first pass to Eric Martin, the Saints' all-time leading receiver, out at the 31-yard line, and that gets the crowd going right away.
That's got to be so important for Hebert to get that first one. That's going to loosen everything up. He's been out for 6 weeks. That'll make it a lot easier.
Basic 4-3. Howie Long is still on the shelf. Should be back next week. Harrison's the rookie from Indiana. Golick, Davis, and Townsend. It's a base 4-3. Moss, who came from Tampa in a trade. Ellison, the former 49er, and Tom Benson on the other side. McDaniel and Washington have had good years. Locke had a great year. 8 interceptions, and the hard-hitting Eddie Anderson. Double tight end set for the Saints. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. It's early in motion. And the give to Gil Fenerty, who picks up 3 before he is forced back. And there is Howie Long, injured his knee 2 weeks ago. Did practice last week. Thought they could have used him tonight, but Doug Hill says no, wait till next week.
Yeah, and they're very confident that they'll get the great Howie Long back next week. And with the Raiders already having assured themselves of a playoff position, a smart move.
Saints go without a huddle here, as they throw a new look at the Raiders on 2nd down and 7. Hebert off the fake, goes to a secondary receiver. It's Kobe Brenner, the tight end, and he has a first down up at the 45-yard line. The tackle by Benson.
And I think it's safe to say that Bobby Hebert has energized this crowd as well as his own Saints football team. And he is, of course, extremely popular, a local kid who has done well here at home. And what he means to both the Saints football team and to the city of New Orleans is hard for an outsider to comprehend. With his Cajun background, Bobby Hebert is the main man in New Orleans.
First and 10 at the 44, no score, 5 minutes into the game. Play clock down to 3. Again, off play action. The pass is made up at the 45. There's a flag down. Eric Martin makes the catch. It's about a 10-yard gain. Benson was the guy who forced Hebert. And the hold is against New Orleans. And so that one will come back.
I think it was Scott Davis of the Raiders that forced that hold, taking a strong inside move on Jim Dabrowski, the left guard.
Holding 72 offense. Still first down.
That is Dombrowski right there. He's the left guard, and Scott Davis, number 70, just takes a big rip move to the inside. Here's Dombrowski right here. Watch Davis. Watch him just rip to the inside. There's the rip move, the right arm, and really Dombrowski just drove him into the ground. I think that's a bad call. I mean, even though Davis ended up on the ground, Dombrowski didn't drag him down.
Back to the 35. Dawson Hilliard is in the game, and Dawson Hilliard picked up about 5. Hilliard, who was hurt much of last year, has been out, came back last week and played sparingly, sprained arch, but he's a guy who, if he's hot and if he's healthy, is exactly what you need out of that spot.
I think the New Orleans Saints crowd, like a lot of other people, are just kind of biding the time until a young rookie comes into this lineup. Fred McAfee out of Mississippi College. He has just been phenomenal over the last 5 or 6 games, and over 400 yards rushing, and I'm sure we'll see him soon. He's electric.
Second and 15.
A lot of people on the line of scrimmage here for the Raiders. Here comes the blitz.
Turner in motion. 7-man rush, and that opens things up over the middle. Quinn Early off to the races. He beats Anderson. Anderson just dies, get him by a shoelace to prevent the touchdown at the 8-yard line.
You may have overstated it now with a shoelace.
But what a great play by that offensive line.
Raiders brought everybody. They tend to do that, particularly a quarterback that's been out for 6 weeks. They just kind of helter-skeltered it, and the New Orleans line played it solid and gave Hebert a chance to deliver. Well, both Ricky Ellison and Winston Moss take the same hole on the inside, and they are picked up. And when that gave the amount of time it did to Early to come all the way across the field, but look at Anderson, 33. I don't know what he got. It was just one of Early's heels that came back and clipped the shoulder pad. Meanwhile, we've got a Raider hurt back up the field at the 48-yard line. But watch this. Watch Early make his turn. He almost goes out of bounds. Really a fine effort to keep from going out. Right here, look how close he comes. Look at his right foot. And Anderson dives. Whoa, and just caught it with the left hand. That may reap dividends for the Raiders. We'll find out when we come back. Another look. The touchdown-saving tackle of Eddie Anderson. Watch how his left hand flips the left foot of Early and then knocks it over into his right leg. There's the hit, and he catches it on his own right leg, and that's what sends him down. Now let's see if the Raiders defensively can make Anderson's effort here pay off.
Bob Golick was the injured Raider, an ankle injury. He is on the bench. There's a flag down before the play, so no play. Johnny Greer is the referee. It was first and goal at the 8.
Fly to the step, right tackle, offense. Still first down.
It will now be first and goal at the 13 of Stan Brock, who was penalized, and there is Bob Golick. And the Raiders tonight have only 5 linemen in uniform, 5 defensive linemen, and they play a base 4-3, so they need Golick to get back into the game.
Golick had his ankle trapped under somebody, but also rubbing it like it might be a trap. And I think that penalty a moment ago was on Larry Williams, the right guard, who was filling in for Chris Port, an injured Chris Port.
First and goal at the 13, Anthony Smith spells Golick along the Raider front. The fake to Hilliard. Hebert throws underneath to the tight end, John Tice. Gain of 1. Eddie Anderson makes the tackle. It'll be second and goal with 7 minutes to play in a scoreless first quarter.
Townsend taking a move to the inside. He leads the Raiders in sacks now. Tice just ties up Townsend, then releases out. It's a good thing he did because actually Hebert was looking deep into the end zone for Eric Martin, and he was covered. So at least Tice gave him somebody to check off there.
Now, they call that a slow block by the tight end, but boy, that's a stiff price for your quarterback to have to pay to get your tight end open. Second and goal with 3 wideouts, including Early, who is in motion to Martin's side. Turner on the other side. Hebert lost one to the 10. Flag is down. Martin makes the catch and gets it to the 8-yard line.
Did you see Greg Townsend on that play? Look, he took off on Stan Brock, the right tackle. Whoa! I am glad I'm no longer playing right tackle and up in the booth if that's the way tackles are being treated these days. Watch Townsend, 57 offense, and they called Brock for holding. Stan was being projected and tossed out of the way, and he gets called for the hold. Whoa.
Officials timeout, and it's time now for a regular feature on what's new in the world of sports science and technology. Brock, somehow, some way called for holding. Been here since 1980.
I don't think Stan was in good enough position to hold him. He wasn't upright long enough to hold him.
Second and goal is at 22. The last time out because of a minor injury to Tom Benson, who was down briefly, out for at least one play. Saints starting his drive at their own 13-yard line. It is second down and goal from the 22-yard line. Pressure on Hebert. He swings it out to Hilliard. He gets an initial block, then takes it down to the 20-yard line where Winston Moss makes the tackle, and Hebert got checked by Anthony Smith, who has 9.5 sacks this year.
Frank, you've been watching this too. I mean, this is not a strong beginning for New Orleans. They've had a fine drive, and they're in a position to score points. But virtually every time that Hebert's gone back to throw, he has taken a good shot. And I don't know if we talked about the reason he was out for those many weeks was a shoulder. And each time you go down as a quarterback off balance, you risk damaging a healthy shoulder. So they better protect him a little bit better. They better getting some kind of a pass to get away a little quicker.
Third and goal from the 20. The Saints have also been stymied on this drive by 3 penalties. 4-man rush. Hebert lofting it into the end zone, but the catch is out of bounds. Turner comes down with it, but he was on the chalk, and it will be 4th down.
I think he was well onto the chalk, too. That really wasn't close. Lionel Washington played that pretty darn well. Let's go back to the Eddie Anderson tackle. Remember, on Quinn Early, it saved a touchdown, and now the Saints are forced to bring out the field goal unit. Again, Floyd Turner with a lot of speed and was led to the outside. He had no chance to catch that inbound, but again, Hebert wasn't taking chances of getting intercepted. Excellent coverage by cornerback Lionel Washington.
37-yard attempt for Morton Anderson. Normally automatic. Normally automatic here.
Touchdown.
Yeah. A tackle by Anderson was at least worth 4 points. 4:57 to go in the first. Saints lead 3-0. Golick has that left calf ice. It's a sprained left calf and third on the last series. And his return, questionable. No report yet from Tom Benson, but they appear to be working on his left arm or shoulder while we were in commercial. So the problems begin to mount early for Art Shell, who, as we say, already comes into the game minus Howie Long and another defensive lineman, A.J. Jimerson. Here's Anderson's kickoff, and it's a typical run, a touchback. And again, let's go back to that Eddie Anderson tackle, which results in a 4-point save in effect.
Yep. How often do you see it where one player extends himself beyond what he normally might be able to do? And that was it for Eddie Anderson, because quite frankly, all of us here thought that Quinn Early had the angle on Anderson. He had the advantage in speed, and he was going to score. That was a surprise that Anderson tripped him up, and you're right, a 4-point save credited to Eddie Anderson for his team.
So the Saints, in their first scoring drive under Hebert, Bobby on a spell for 6 weeks, are able to work through 3 penalties and cash in for 3. Slater now from the 20-yard line gives the ball to Steve Smith, normally a blocking back, but he carries from time to time, and they will throw it to him. Stopped by Wilk. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
Well, the irony of this New Orleans defense being second overall in the league, and as we documented earlier, losing the last 4 games after leading in the fourth quarters of each game. As a matter of fact, they've lost 5 games, and they have led going into the fourth quarter of all of those games, and this is the second-ranked defense overall in the league.
Second to Philadelphia. 2nd and 8 at the 22-yard line. Here come the Saints. The Trader steps up and gets it away, and it's still incomplete. Intended for Tim Brown, and he was shadowed by Milton Mack.
Frank, that's what you touched on early. There was the great outside rush coming from Swilling and Jackson. The Trader was able to step up and nobody there.
What a difference the last month has made for the Saints. There they were, the standings November 10th. They had a 4-game lead, and right now a game behind. No team in the history of the league has blown a 4-game lead and failed to win the division. So the Saints trying to avoid a dubious historical note. 3rd and 8 from the 22.
Not the way you want to get in the record book.
There it is. Safety blitz from the outside. Gene Atkins. And the Raiders going deep. They had no one underneath for Slater to put the ball to, and Slater is hurt.
Swilling and Atkins converge.
Well, Frank's right. You had Atkins from the outside, and Swilling looped back to the inside, and he was unblocked, and both of them hit Jay Schrader at exactly the same time. Watch Swilling loop back inside. Here comes Atkins, 28, and this is almost a simultaneous arrival on Jay Schrader's person.
And with that blitz, the numbers just didn't match up either, Dan. Saints with one more on the rush than they had the block, and again, everyone in a deep pattern. Schrader had no one underneath, and he's just lucky he didn't hurt that right leg bad.
Frank, here's the way you compensate for a lack of an inside push. You loop your best outside rusher to the inside, and look what they got out of it.
Line drive kick by Gossett, fielded at the 43-yard line by Fennerty, and a great tackle is made by Elvis Patterson, who has just been sensational on special teams. He's trying to win a trip to Honolulu, but he has to beat out Steve Pastor of the Bills to do it. 3:40 to go in the quarter.
Schrader slow getting up. You saw that just before we left, and here's Schrader on the sidelines. They're looking at the right leg, either knee or ankle. Here comes Swilling, unmolested up the middle. Now watch the right leg of Schrader. And he gets it trapped underneath just a little bit, and that could have been very, very serious.
When he had it pinned there, Frank, you could see it kind of flex to the inside. There are the 2 Raider quarterbacks, Vince Evans on the right, their number 1 draft choice, Todd Marinovich, on the left. It'll be Evans, though. He's number 2.
Here's McAfee, the rookie, and he gets up-ended as he crosses the 50. Lionel Washington makes the tackle on the rookie Fred McAfee, who comes out of Mississippi College, not to be confused with what's known as Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi. This is another school picked in the 6th round, and the Saints again go without a huddle, as they did on one play on their first drive. 2nd and 6, and Hebert off the fake, going deep, but the coverage is excellent, and it's incomplete and nearly picked off by McDaniel, who runs for it, intended for Turner.
Oh, what a good job by Terry McDaniel, stepping in front of Turner and slowing Turner down. Just perfect defensive play by Terry McDaniel out on the corner. Turner has the speed, but McDaniel stepped in front of it and negated the speed and made the great play, and then almost made the interception.
Here's where stats sometimes lie. McDaniel does not have one interception this year. So you say, well, he's having a good year, but they rave about the job he has done. Excellent cover corner. 3rd and 6. At the LA 48. 3:09 to go in the quarter. 3-0 Saints. They have to get to the 41 as Hebert pump fake, dumps it. The catch is made at the 41-yard line by Turner, and he gets it to the 26, and the flag comes in.
I think they're going to call that against Eric Martin. Tripp coming back to try to pick up the block. Martin got the backside of the Raider, and the flag came in.
Clipper holding. Yeah, they're going to get illegal use of the hand.
Either way you want to call it, it was going to bring back a nifty run.
And Jim Morris saying this is a tough enough game without hurting ourselves with penalties, and that has been the case with New Orleans offensively tonight. Even though they've got 3 points, they are really making it hard on themselves by committing penalties. The crowd boos, but pretty good call.
Illegal block. Offense. First down.
So they mark it from the spot, and there was enough yardage that they were able to pick up the first down. So they weren't hurt that bad by it, but they lose about 10 yards on it. Schrader limping on the sidelines, and what a loss this would be.
It's an ankle injury, and the report is they're going to take him back and x-ray it. First down at the 40-yard line. Here's McAfee exploiting a big hole for a first down, dragged down by Ronnie Lott at the 26-yard line. First down, Saints.
I first saw this young man on a Sunday night game, and I quite frankly never heard of him. He went in the 6th round, and again from that Division II Mississippi College, and this kid can run. He is a fine runner, great moves, and he's a lot stronger than his size.
Well,
5'11" and 193, but he makes things happen.
Should all running backs have holes like that to run through, though? Brock Williams and Hilgenberg to the right side. Tremendous blocking. But as usual, Ronnie Lott covers up for a lot of other people's mistakes.
First down at the 26. A minute 45 to go in the quarter. McAfee again, not much there this time, but he does plunge forward and turn nothing into a little something, about a 3-yard pickup down to the 23-yard line.
And this is a thing for our Shells Raiders right now. Schrader is hurt, but remember Golick is out, and he's been replaced by Nolan Harrison, a rookie, and the Saints are going right at Harrison, number 74.
And Benson is out, and Jerry Robinson has had a wonderful career, but has been relegated to backup duty in the 22 spot.
We've already talked about Howie Long not being in the game. So the Raiders defense suffering tonight.
2nd and 7 at the 23. Hilliard is back in as the running back. They're there on 2nd and 7, going for it all, and it's incomplete. Crowd wants a penalty. Quinn Early, the intended receiver, but he was out of bounds, and he was covered by Gary Lewis.
That ball was nowhere near catchable. Well, it was catchable, but you'd have to be 4 yards out of bounds to come up with it.
Mark 21, Gary Lewis, he's man for man. The Raiders play a lot of man for man now. Now, that's not all that bad a coverage when you get down around the end zone because they can't throw out of the backside, so it's okay to let them get behind you just a little bit because they have to throw that ball absolutely perfect for the completion.
Phil Lewis took his eye off the ball, and if that would have been a catchable ball, if that would have been in the field of play, that would have been interference.
3rd and 7 out of the gun with 4 wideouts, including Wesley Carroll, the Miami rookie who's in motion. And that's incomplete as Early broke off the pattern at the 13-yard line, covered by Lewis, and it will be 4th down.
Now, you're exactly right. He did break it off, and much to the chagrin of Bobby Hebert. He had anticipated the move continuing to the outside, and fiery leader. He's not all that noisy. He doesn't make a lot of noise, but they know he is a leader.
Actually, Gary Lewis, number 21, is going to impede. Look at him. He is completely wrapped up early as he tries to go to the outside.
Well, he might have turned right into him, too.
Oh, he definitely turned into him, but got a bear hug in return. That's
41-yard field goal attempt by Morton Anderson is no good.
Raiders dodging a lot of bullets here early.
Yep, New Orleans dominating in the first quarter, and yet it is still only 3-0 with 45 seconds remaining in the period.
You don't see this all that often. Morton Anderson, a good snap, a good hold. And he just pulls it to the right. And more often than not, a kicker like that doesn't have to wait to see the result. Look at him. He knows right there. That ball's halfway there, and he knows he's already missed it.
Now Vince Evans comes in. I mean, how many years ago does it seem Vince Evans was the quarterback of the Chicago Bears? It was so long ago, Mike Ditka hadn't gotten there yet.
Well, he's been around USFL. He was replacement quarterback for the Raiders, and he's kind of hung around ever since.
He has Marcus Allen behind him. The fake to Allen, and Evans, chased by Swilling, throws on the run, and Willie Ball can't make the catch. It's picked off, but there's a flag down as well. Atkins comes up with a football. It's New Orleans ball for the moment.
I wonder if they're going to try to do something to Mark Lee for taking a shot, but he didn't hit him. I didn't see him hit him.
He took one while the ball was in the air.
Well, you've got a penalty and a probable review coming up here.
Kenny Wolf, our producer, is telling us that it was not a catch.
Pass to the first. 29 defense. First down Raiders.
They would have had the review had it been the interception.
You're right. It doesn't matter. Vince Glenn is called for the interference. He called 29. That actually is Milton Mack, 24.
There's the shot we referred to. The ball is not caught, and so Vince Evans gets out of trouble originally from Swilling, throws a pass that could have been intercepted, wasn't, and the Raiders will get a first down out to the 37.
Yeah, the interference was on 24, Milton Mack.
Raiders have a first down at their own 38, 36 seconds left in the quarter, 3-0 Saints. And there's a flag, and there's no play here.
Yeah, Marcus is sure hoping there's no play.
65 offense. That's Max Montoya, and there's also a little scuffle that ends in a hurry between Horton and Swilling.
First and 15 from the 33.
That's right, 6'5", we got it, Johnny. That's Max Montoya. Here he is right here, the right guard. Let's see if we can see him move. Now keep in mind, there's the movement, false start. New quarterback in the game, though, different team. Vince Evans replacing Jay Schrader, and you'll see that quite often.
Particularly on a trap block when Montoya had the pull.
Yep.
First and 15 to the 33. Here's Allen up to the 35. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If Schrader is hurt for any length of time, all the talk will again start, as it has out on the West Coast, about the Raiders and Steve Berline and the problems they had with him last year. He was in Al Davis's doghouse, traded to Dallas. You know what Berline has done with the Cowboys. And now the Raiders are reduced to Evans and or Todd Marinovich.
Well, you wonder how long it would take to go to this young man, Todd Marinovich. I think, in all honesty, they're trying to give him a year to kind of ease into it. He came out early at USC. We saw him one time in a preseason game, and he had a very dramatic drive in a preseason game against Dallas. And they look at him and they say, hey, this guy is our future. Wouldn't that?
Brent White is satisfied completely. The Superdome. First quarter belonging to the Saints, but if you look at the numbers and they're weighted to the right, the score is still only 3-0. Dominated by New Orleans, 129 yards to 19 in total offense. Third and 10 from the 38. Here comes the blitz. Evans throws on the run, throws a duck, and that's incomplete at the 49-yard line. Ricky Jackson was the guy who was chasing him. And he can still move. Ricky in his 11th year.
And so can Vince Evans. That was his long stint, not only at USC, but also with the Bears, later in the USFL. And he is a very maneuverable quarterback. He still has the good speed. He sees the pressure from Ricky Jackson coming from the outside right through the middle, forcing him out of the pocket. He still sprints to the sideline.
Joe Kennedy forced the return kicks. Among other things, Vince Buck, not only a fine cornerback in New Orleans, but he had been their kick returner. Goss at the punt. Good kick. Kennedy at the 14. Comes to the short side and runs into the Raiders at the 17-yard line, led by Mike Jones and Dan Land.
This is really the type of situation that is reminding people of the Saints and the problems they've had on special teams. A big loss there, Mel Gray. called, trying to walk it off. Bob Golick trying to get some feeling back in that injured left calf.
First down change from the 18-yard line. Hebert drops it off from McAfee, and the rookie gets taken down by Robinson and Lott after a gain of 7.
Those moves might work pretty good at Mississippi College, but Ronnie Lott just stood right at the belt, didn't take any of them, and made the tackle. What a year he's having. 8 interceptions in the NFL, 59 career jobs. Was celebrated Plan B from San Francisco, and just another stop on the way to Canton, Ohio.
2nd and 3. That's the first catch for McAfee this year. He had run the ball 90 times coming into the game, but that's the first time they've thrown to him. 2nd and 3. He picks up the first down, does the Mississippi rookie, but there's a flag down. McAfee out to the 36-yard line.
That's probably going to be another holding. We've had a couple of real questionable holding calls thus far. And Moore just shaking his head. The first two they called are really marginal.
Holding, 61, offense. Still 2nd down.
Joel Hilgenberg just spinning it around. Yeah, you can take a look. They're calling Hilgenberg right here on a hold, but take a look at Dombrowski, who's going to come all the way to the outside. I think Dombrowski trying to block Anthony Smith is where they call the hold there. Hilgenberg gets them to the inside as well. Take your pick. A couple of holds on that one. The Saints, again, continue to shoot themselves in the foot with holding calls.
3 of those 6 penalties have been holding calls.
Yep.
It is 2nd and 13 at the 16. Dalton Hilliard is in the backfield. Martin in motion.
They just ran out of flags that time, or they'd have got Dombrowski too.
4-man rush. Hebert off his back foot throws to Brenner, the tight end, and he gets taken down by Moss up at the 28, and that's going to set up a 3rd and very short. 12 and a half minutes left in the first half. Still only 3-0 Saints, despite complete domination by New Orleans.
That's again a delayed play on the part of Hobie Brenner. He stays in, checks for a blitz, makes the block, slide block, and then moves out into the flat and is a check-off receiver. And Hebert is very adept at finding Brenner on that particular play, and Brenner came close to getting the first down out of it.
3rd and the yard. Hilliard and Jordan in the backfield. Hilliard in motion. Buford Jordan, short yardage specialist, gets that short yardage, tackled by Anderson at the 30, first down Saints.
When the Saints offensive line isn't being called for holding, they are producing on the running attack. They are really banging some holes in there for their running backs. I mean, guys breaking into the secondary clean without a defensive tackle or a linebacker even touching them. I mean, look at this, not even a hand is laid on Jordan, and it's up to Anderson to come up with another clean open field tackle. And Hilliard with a good block on Ronnie. Yeah, really, it's feast or famine for these guys. Either a great play or a holding penalty.
McAfee back in. Early in motion. 1st and 10. Takes to McAfee. Hebert deep, wide open, Quinn Early. Bucked out of bounds at the 34-yard line by McDaniel. Wide open, Quinn Early.
Yeah, when you're that wide open, Frank, you either blew a coverage or you put such a move on your guy, he totally disappeared.
I don't think it was that. I think it was just blown coverage. There is McDaniel. He should be out there. He comes in. He's following number 84 coming to the inside. That's Eric Martin, and he gets totally lost. He probably should have released Eric Martin, moved to the outside, so I don't want to say for sure, but in all probability, McDaniel not getting off Eric Martin early enough.
36 yards in. Quinn Early picked up in the offseason from San Diego. First down at the 34-yard line. Hebert over the middle. That's the other tight end, John Tice. He and Brenner, the tight ends for New Orleans. Ellison and Robinson make the stop.
One of the things that Dan and I talked about earlier was the fact that Hebert was getting hit almost every time he threw the ball in the opening moments of this game. Now all of a sudden, he's dropping back into the pocket. He's getting time to throw deep. He's getting time to look over receivers, and he is not getting the pressure that he got early.
And Bob Golick is trying to get back in the ball game. See him over there on the sidelines just trying to trying to loosen up his calf. Pretty good start there for Bobby Abraham, 10 of 14.
Second and 5
at the 29-yard line.
McAfee. Nice. Anderson makes the tackle, but McAfee is able to twist and turn and pick up an extra half yard or so.
McAfee lines up about 8 yards deep in that I formation, the single back eye. The other Saints backs were set up to about 6 or 7 yards, but that's how he did at Mississippi College. And you kind of let him do it. He sort of takes the ball and sort of makes his own opening. And there's Carl Smith, the offensive coordinator. They actually cut this young kid, Fred McAfee, at the beginning of the season. And then they brought him back on the practice squad and activated him 7 games ago.
Very unusual look from Carl Smith.
Decipher that for me, will you?
Yeah. Maybe it's a signal.
That might have been, I taught him that.
In crunch time, 3rd and 1 from the 25. First down for Hilliard. Takes it to the 15-yard line. He drags McDaniel with him.
This is what will slow the pass rush even more for the New Orleans Saints. The Raiders will have to start to deeply consider the run, and they are missing Bob Golick. I mean, look at the holes in the middle. There's 94, that's Anthony Smith. Nolan Harrison is 74 in there. There's a missed tackle by Winston Moss. And they are really missing the presence of Howie Long inside and Bob Golick inside. Long we knew wasn't going to play. Golick out early with a bad calf. I guess when you have calves that big, it takes a while to get that pain out of there. And there's the great one. There's the cover boy, huh? Howie Long with the bad knee. They think he'll be back next week. But Greg Townsend is on. Remember that front three when they go to the 3-down lineman that's in there, and he basically is a pass rusher. And what they need to do is stop the run.
First down Saints at the 15. New Orleans up 3-0. 8:25 to go in the first half. Hilliard for a gain of 8 to the 7. Tackled by Anderson.
Again, between the tackles, the Saints are hurting the Raiders.
Boy, you just can't say it like this does your football team. When you can run the football like this, you just feel all powerful out there. You feel like you can do anything.
I know one thing, if it wasn't for Eddie Anderson, the Saints would have a lot more points than they do. He's down to making virtually every tackle. This is far more work than Eddie Anderson would like to be doing. He's not shy about it, but it's not good when your safety's making that many tackles.
Second and 2 at the 7-yard line. Hilliard again. And he is stopped short of the first down. Tackled at the 6. Anthony Smith will get credit for it. There's 7:20 to go in the half.
Smith's coming all the way from the backside. Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator.
It's a pretty big conversion here for the Saints because they've been totally dominant. If they get stopped here and have to take a field goal, I mean, the score will be 6-0. It seems like it should be 60-0.
Third and 1 at the 6.
Tice the tight end in motion. A little toss back to McAfee, and McAfee fights for the first down, but there's a flag down. Johnny Greer says again, holding Saints.
This one might be on Titus and Hobie Brenner. Incredibly, New Orleans again called for holding.
Holding inside offense. Football down.
You have to credit the Raiders. I mean, obviously they are forcing the Saints into some inferior blocking positions that are forcing them to hold. You don't have to hold a bad football player. There is Brenner at the top of your screen. And he's the one that drew the flag. And of all the positions on the field, tight end is the most susceptible to being caught holding. He's working against Winston Moss, and he draws the flag.
Shotgun, 3rd and 11 at the 16-yard line. Carroll in motion. Four-man L.A. rush. Hey there, that's knocked down. There's a fumble at the 22-yard line. It was knocked down by Anthony Smith, knocked away by him. Now Johnny Greer almost goes down.
And Anthony Smith, the man who caused it all, had the ball right between his legs and didn't even know it was there. And they're going to say it belongs to the Raiders.
Unbelievable. 5:55 to go in the half, and somehow, someway, it remains only 3-0.
And the Raider is staying down. That's Anthony Smith. Who caused the fumble. He was standing there, Frank, and had the ball between his legs, and the pile just ate him up. The pile rolled him up, and he was struggling to get out from under it. Here's Smith to the left. Watch him strip Hebert. Hebert had to know this was touchy. There's the strip. Now there's the ball, and one Raider tried to run with the ball after it was loose. In any event, the Raiders are going to get a very fortunate turnover. They find it again.
His ankle negative. He has come back out onto the field. So Vince Evans is still the quarterback as the Raiders take over the 22, and the big rookie Nick Bell takes it to the 31-yard line. And if you're just tuning in, prior to that play, the Saints with 209 yards total offense. The Raiders 22 yards total offense, and the score is 3-0.
There's the big play. 3-0. Speaking of big, Nick Bell goes about 255 to 60 pounds. The second-round draft pick out of Iowa. He's been sensational when they bring him in late in the game. He was hurt in training camp. He was hurt for the first 4 games, but he can make his own hole. He is a tremendous force out there.
2nd and 1 up at the 31-yard line. They give it to Nick Bell again. And Nick Bell should have enough for a first down with his forward progress. Stopped by Ronaldo Turnbull with 5 minutes remaining in the first half.
You know, Al mentioned that we're assuming that Jay Schrader's x-rays were negative. The reason we're saying that is, he sprinted out onto the field, out of the locker room, and immediately started taking some snaps. And there are the numbers that Al referred to, 209 now to a whopping 31 for the Raiders.
You know, Dan, when we saw Schrader taking those snaps, he dropped back his right ankle. And when he planted that ankle, he grimaced each time he did. So he is still in a lot of pain with it.
First down, L.A. at the 33-yard line. Bell flagged down up to the 39. Looking to the umpire, indicating a hold against the Raiders should be forthcoming. That is the call.
How many holes do we have to know already here in the first half?
I don't know, but the umpire is going to dislocate his shoulder before tonight's over.
Well, not longer.
This rate.
Holding 65 offense. Still first down. Max Montoya.
Well, it seems that if a defensive lineman's going to end up on the ground tonight, it's going to bring a flag. So linemen have to sense the way the game is going to be called, and they better change to the way they're blocking. Obviously, it's being called very tight up front, and if you're smart, you'll get the arms in.
You know, that's interesting, Dan, because each game is different, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. You better be intelligent enough to realize you better change the way you're blocking.
1st and 20. Evans still mobile. Look at him high step. Up past the 30 to the 34, and he takes a whack. Vaughn Johnson is there, and Mark Lee finishes him off.
And the inevitable confrontation whenever the Raiders play. A lot of in-your-face stuff. And that was some nifty little high-stepping by Evans here. Did the right thing. He yanked it down. Keep in mind that the way pro teams practice is that the number 1 quarterback gets all the reps during practice. And both Evans and Marinovich don't get a lot of looks at what's happening downfield. And here's Vince Evans in his Walter Payton impersonation.
That's why it's good to have that backup quarterback agile, because he does not get a lot of work. And what he's doing right now, Vince Evans, is just a natural act.
2nd and 9. Evans lost one, intended for ball, but it was a little short. In fact, way short. Milton Mack was there, and Brett Mackey was behind him.
Dahl was wide open. Evans underthrew that ball, and it was one that Milton Mack should have had. Willie Gault only has 19 catches on the year, incredibly. But he still has the good moves, and that was a move that got Galt open, but the ball severely behind and short.
But that was a bad read by Vince Evans. That was double coverage. It looked like he beat Milton Mack. He didn't beat him. Mack just played the underneath, and Brett Maxey had him beat. Somebody out there had to be single covered if you're covering two on Willie Galt.
3rd and 9, and they're going to have to take a timeout because the play clock was down to 1. So they took too long in the huddle. Spend the timeout. 3:09 remaining in the first half. 3rd and 9 when we come back. And unbelievably, it's still only 3-0 New Orleans.
A wild time now.
Prime time.
Is it a miracle finish?
3rd and 9 as the catch is recorded by Frank Warren.
And a rather big sack it was, too. Vince Evans had made a big play and did some nifty scrambling, but that time Warren just shut it off and ate him up. Frank Warren, 6 sacks on the year coming into this game, make it 7. And Evans, looking the other side for some reason, is very late in sensing that Warren, who really was in the clear for a good 4 yards before he got to Evans, was coming. And didn't make a decent move to get away.
Jeff Gossett the kick. Joe Fennerty fields at the 34-yard line and gets buried after a run back of a yard by Andrew Glover.
Superdome in New Orleans.
2:25 remaining in the first half, and there's a flag down 42-yard at the Raider 40-yard line.
Yeah, the flag is
Halfway between where it was started and received.
25 yards back upfield.
Johnny Greer, a very busy man tonight. Holding 37 defense while the ball was in the air. After the kick, the ball belongs to New Orleans and will penalize from the spot of the kick. And timeout on the field. 2:25 left in the half, 3-0 Saints.
Sad. That's all I can say.
First down for the Saints at the 24-yard line. 2:25 to go in the half. Here's McAfee. Rookie takes it out to the 29-yard line where Nolan Harrison makes the tackle. The Saints have all of their timeouts left plus the 2-minute warning. So they can stop the clock on 4 occasions against Dave Adolph and the Raider defense, and Bob Golick still has not come back into the game as we come up to the 2-minute warning. It'll be second and 4 when we come back. 3-0 Saints. Yards of play tonight, but what has killed them, among other things, penalties, and that one turnover.
8 penalties, 78 yards, and they have come at critical times. And they have been offensive penalties as we look at Jim Fink, who heads up this Saint organization. He is responsible for all of the football operations. And everywhere he has gone, he has been successful. Almost the commissioner of the National Football League. Came very close before Paul Tagliabue was elected.
Second and 4. And Dalton Hilliard can't make the tack because they there led him too much, and it will be 3rd down and 4 at the 30. I think the Raiders going to that locker room down 3-0. They're going to feel as good as you can feel going in behind at halftime.
They would feel a lot better if that guy could come back and play. Jay Schrader is looking a little more limber on the sidelines, but I can assume that they'll try to look long and hard at halftime. I wouldn't look for him to go in if by chance the Raiders get another possession before the end of the half.
3rd and 4 from the 30-yard line. Play clock at 3. And Hebert's throw is high, but it is caught by Martin up at the 37-yard line, and that is the first down. And there is another marker down. 34-yard line. The penalty flag is thrown.
Illegal hand, 46, defense, it's a drive. First down.
Corin Dorn. It's hard to be any more impassive on the sideline. It's hard to show during the course of a game. You know he's turning inside, but shows absolutely nothing on the outside. But this penalty was meaningless to the Raiders because it ends up being declined. There at the bottom, there's Corin Dorn. You see his hand just goes across the face mask of Wesley Carroll. Good enough for a flag. This game is being called tight.
First and 10 at the 36. Hebert dumps it off to Hilliard. And Dalton Kay at the 45-yard line. That is a gain of 9, and another flag is down.
Well, you saw a little campaigning there for a face mask call. Eddie Anderson came up and made the tackle, and that's what it's going to be. There's some serious lobbying.
Face mask, defense.
Dalton Hilliard was pleading his own case. He turns upfield. There's a good look at him. He's aiding Dorn, and there it is. But Hilliard kept going and saying, hey, look at this, look at this. Anderson had his hand on the face mask. Whether or not he had a good grip on it or not was tough to tell.
Hilliard made it look pretty good.
Yeah, he's an effective campaigner.
Call 1-800-face mask.
Campaigns have been big here in Louisiana lately.
First and 10 at the 50-yard line. Hebert throws, great coverage. The catch is made at the 48-yard line as Lionel Washington was all over Floyd Turner.
Hebert is going to stop the clock now. They still have 2 timeouts remaining after just using one, so a lot of time remains for New Orleans there.
At the 47-yard line, a minute 33 remaining. Saints ahead 3-0 with 2 timeouts at their disposal. Hilliard makes the catch, but he is tackled right away by Anderson at the 47-yard line, and it's going to be 3rd and 8. No gain.
You know, we saw the penalty called against Anderson earlier, but what a great year he's having, and a lot of people think that maybe the play of Ronnie Lott has stimulated him. He is hitting just as hard and as frequently as Ronnie Lott, just having a superb year.
And now the timeout, New Orleans. Well, the Saints squandered a few seconds there before deciding they would take a timeout. 3rd and 8 when we come back.
Riverwalk complex here in New Orleans goes across the Mississippi River. That's a good look at it going sideways. Spinning across the river. The rivermen must fight those currents.
You know, the Saints have a very pleasant problem in the fact that Morton Anderson, their place kicker, has kicked one already this year from 60 yards, so they don't need a whole lot to get him into position to hang up another 3, or at least to go for it.
3rd down and 8 at the 47-yard line. Hebert throws one that is caught at the 34-yard line by Quinn Early for a big first down over Gary Lewis.
And they're going to not try to stop the clock for the timeout. They only have one, and they're going to want to save that one.
First and 10, just inside the 35-yard line. Inside handoff to Hilliard, and he is stopped at the 32, and the clock continues to tick down. Kind of a strange call under these circumstances. And New Orleans takes its last timeout. So no more timeouts remaining. Bo Jackson, our halftime feature, and we'll preview that. He had this message last week for his LA Raider teammates.
I wish that I could be there with him. Not just standing on the sideline, but out there banging heads and having fun. Because you have to get a little warp in your mind to get out there, do the things that professional football players do. And I could be there, believe me, I would.
For a man viewed by many people as an impersonal, money-making, one-man conglomerate, that was obviously extremely sincere. A born competitor, and we have really a neat look at Bo Jackson coming up at halftime. But that was needless to say, heartfelt.
No question. And what a great athlete. One of the few you find when you watch in your lifetime that has an instant impact by just coming onto the field. The Raiders have had one run from scrimmage this year of 20 yards, only one. And in the 4 years, as Steve Hurt called it, the Bo Jackson era, they had 39 of them. It's football's lost.
Second down and 8, Saints at the 33. They do not have a timeout. 41 seconds left in the half. 3-0 New Orleans. Hebert under pressure. Lost it for the rookie Carroll, and it's incomplete. The crowd wants a flag, but there is no yellow. Torrin Dorn with a coverage. Third down.
Pretty good coverage by Dorn on Carroll, and Carroll making a move with his hand pushing Dorn away. That should have drawn a flag on the night when just about anything draws a flag, but it didn't.
The crowd sees it here on the big screen, and they react to it, but actually that was just two guys fighting for the football. That's what you call a good non-call.
Third and 8 at the 32-yard line. Hebert throws. The flag is down away from the play. Martin makes the catch. For the moment, it's a first down, but there was contact on the other side. Scott Davis, meanwhile, put the pressure on Bobby Hebert, and there's a flag down at the 20-yard line on the complete other side of the field.
And several things on that play. One was Bobby Hebert got steamrolled. Anthony Smith lost his shoe, and a flag downfield.
40 holding, 46 defense. It's the drive. First down.
Well, for the second time on this drive, Torrin Dorn gets called for something, and it's declined. But Bobby Hebert gets kissed, and I mean royally. Just as soon as he throws the ball, there's Scott Davis right up the middle.
When he comes down that right elbow, and it's the right shoulder that's been damaged.
That's a big hunk of man coming down on top of you.
First down at the 20-yard line, 30 seconds left. Hebert drops it. Hebert gets sacked at the 36. The clock momentarily stops. Townsend gets the sack, and then Greer will wind it in a moment. Here he goes. Again, the Saints do not have a timeout.
And all the receivers were downfield deep, so only now can they get this play off.
Second and 25, a 15-yard sack. Hebert will have to get out of bounds and does after a good game. He steps out at the 19-yard line. He's about 9 yards short of the first.
Oh, and sometimes man-for-man coverage really kills you. Gary Lewis was running downfield even as Hebert turned upfield. The cornerback over that left side covering his man-for-man. He didn't even see Hebert, and Hebert was able to lope down the sidelines. And here is Gary Lewis. He's down on the carpet.
Again, Golik's been hurt, hasn't been back in. Benson, the linebacker, was hurt. And now Lewis.
And here's the deal for the Saints now. They can't run a play over the middle. They can't run a draw. They can't run a screen.
2 minutes.
Because if they get caught,
that is a short timeout. Raiders.
That's really inconsequential right there. But the Saints have no choice to either try a play into the end zone, a short pattern to the sideline, something of that nature, because without a timeout, they can't stop it and they won't get another play on.
Exactly, and the Raiders defense will take that sideline away from them, so one would have to think they'll try to put it in the end zone, trusting really in the judgment of Bobby Hebert.
And you saw that graphic telling us that 3 times they were inside the 25-yard line of the Raiders, and out of that, they come out with only 1 field goal by Morton Anderson. And how many times do you see it where one team is all over the other one at halftime? Statistically. But they didn't do it on the scoreboard, and it comes back to haunt you.
I don't think I've ever seen this kind of domination. I mean, this has been complete. And the score is 3-0. There it is, 261 to 35. Third down, 9 at the 19-yard line.
Well, their clutch man, the control man, usually is Eric Martin. But they can't
throw the ball and keep it in play and get the field goal unit out.
Five-man rush. Boss with a blitz. The catch is made at the 5-yard line, but they don't have a timeout. They don't have a timeout. Anderson comes flying on. He can't even come onto the field.
They'll lose it.
They can't stop the clock. Well, folks,
now the bonehead play, guys.
oh,
The one thing we talked about they couldn't do, and the Saints tried to do it.
they did. That's amazing. That is unbelievable.
There is no way with 13 seconds left on the clock that you can run a play, not get in the end zone, and expect to get off another play.
That is the end of a bizarre half. 3-0, and we'll return with halftime activities after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC station. We get ready to start the second half at the Superdome in New Orleans. Saints on top 3-0. Total domination in the first half, but rarely has a team made so little out of so much. Raiders to kick off. Jeff Jaeger makes his first appearance of the night. Puts it in the air, sends it down to the 7-yard line. Fred McAfee runs right into Land and then takes Land with him out to the 20-yard line. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation, and by America's favorite Fruit of the Loom. We keep America's men comfortable. Stats, first half.
What was your line? Done so little with so much? 290 total yards to 35, and yet the Raiders trail by only 3 points. Now, the bad news for the Raiders is, of course, the injury to Jay Schrader, and the question will be whether or not he tries to quarterback the team at all here in the second half.
Some good news for them. Tom Benson, the linebacker, is back in after missing most of the first half. And Ricky Ellison makes the tackle on Fred McAfee as he crosses the 25-yard line. It'll be second down and 4, and there is Benson, but they are still minus Golan, who was hurt early in the first quarter.
And as we talked about, ever since Golick has gone out, I mean, that was when the Saints started to move the ball on the ground. And here's a man who's so tough against that run, and again, something wrong with the calf, and he does not appear to be able to go.
Second and 4. Take, backside screen, and that goes nowhere because Benson takes care of Buford Jordan, and it will be third down and 3.
Good play by Benson, and Jordan nevertheless was able to squeeze a couple out of that, and it's going to be third down and 32, and the Saints not all that effective on third down conversion. And conversely, the Raiders are very tough against teams on third down conversion.
Roger Craig, injured his hip last week, has played just sparingly tonight when he was being worked on. Third down and 3 from the 27-yard line. Hebert throws, and the catch is made up at the 35-yard line, and that's the first down, and he somehow got it into Eric Martin.
We talked about Martin being that possession man, and you couldn't cover him any better. Terry McDaniel was all over him, and Hebert put it in there perfectly. McDaniel right with him, and Hebert just laying it in there perfectly for the first down.
First and 10 up at the 35-yard line. Opening stages of the third quarter. Saints 3, Raiders nothing. Hebert hit as he throws, and that's incomplete. The pressure was put on by Anthony Smith, who almost had another sack. He had 9.5 coming into the game. You know, another thing Art Shell has to think about tonight, I mean, to be perfectly honest about the Raiders tonight, next week's game is much more important than tonight's game. They have an outside chance to win the division title, and these three things to happen. They have to win tonight, win next week, and if Denver loses at San Diego. But there's really not that much of a difference between finishing as the third best division champ or the first wild card.
Either way, you have to play on wild card weekend.
Right, at home. Right, in either instance. Second and 10. McAfee up to the 40-yard line. And there's a flag down.
Craig Janoff is our director tonight. Kenny Wolf is our producer, and they're telling us that the Raiders have passed on, that Schrader is okay and ready to play, and we'll see if Art Shell decides to put him in there when the Raiders get the ball. Same for Bob Golick, we're told. Yeah, except Golick is on the sideline. But there's a sign. Schrader has his helmet on.
Illegal formation. Offense. 77 lined up on the end of the line without reporting. Still second down.
Let's see, 77.
Reggie McElroy.
Well, wrong team. There is no 77,
Yes. Well, maybe called McElroy anyway.
If 77 lined up, he's not even on the roster.
Saints don't have a 77.
No. Talk about your phantom penalties.
We won't even try to. I say it was McElroy. I'm going to stick to it.
There's nobody between 74 and 80. 15. Bear dumps it over the middle to Hilliard, and a nice tackle made by who else? The team's leading tackler tonight and during the season, Eddie Anderson.
Just a remarkable game being turned in by Anderson.
You know, Ronnie Lott gets so much of the publicity coming over, but Eddie Anderson is having a terrific year.
Well, and you know, again, I have to invoke Ronnie Lott here because I think he has had a wonderful influence on Eddie Anderson. I mean, here's a guy who not only has the mark of all great players. Not only does he play a great game, but he makes everyone around him better. And he's made Eddie Anderson a better player.
Anderson has 8 tackles tonight. 3rd and 11. Bear throws too high and incomplete off the hand of Floyd Turner.
And we're going to have another holding call against the Saints. I think it's going to be Dombrowski, the left guard.
This is starting out like the game started out with Bear on his back.
Holding. 72 offense. It's too far. Touchdown.
Here's Dombrowski, but I mean, again, Bear was hit how many times? 3 times on that series.
Well, Dombrowski, the left guard, he's been flagged before. Here he is over here. Watch the loop back to the inside, and we'll see a first straight horse collar here. He grabs Nolan Harrison and just pulls him down to the ground.
Tommy Barnhart, his first punt of the game, is a good one. As he angles it, Tim Brown at the 18. And he can't get on track. Good coverage for the Saints. Brown brings it back to the 24-yard line. Benny Thompson makes the tackle. 50-yard kick. 8-yard run back. 11:18 remaining in the third. And we'll find out about Schrader when we come back. 3-0. Bourbon Street, New Orleans. The Big Easy.
The Crescent City.
Yep. Things have not been very easy for the Saints tonight. They lead 3-0. 11:18 to go. And Schrader is back in, 11:18 in the third. Jay Schrader throws, and the catch is made by Roger Craig up at the 29-yard line. So Schrader, who was hurt early, sprained his ankle, had an x-ray. They were negative, didn't play the balance of the first half, has come back to start the third quarter.
And starts off by doing something that you don't see all that often, and that is throwing to a back. Cha-ching, and boy, what a great representation of the three of us ever.
Second down and 5 from the 29.
A false start.
We should point out, by the way, cha-ching has to do with a local commercial dealing with a regional fast food firm featuring an actor who goes cha-ching every time he makes a sale.
58 offense. Prior to the snap. Still second down.
The Saints have sort of adopted it as a rallying cry. It's become so popular here. The kid who plays the kid bringing up the sale, the 17-year-old actor, was brought to town today for a luncheon. The mayor gave him the keys to the city, which I think is the end of Western civilization as we know it.
Jingle bells, jingle bells. Just jingle all the way.
Second and 11 from the 24. Schrader throws to Craig. And Roger, I think, was able to stay inbounds long enough and did to pick up the first down, but holding against the Raiders.
Well, for a moment there, I thought the Raiders doubled their passing yardage, but not to be. It looks like this will come back.
That's the bad news. They're bringing it back. The good news is the Schrader plants that right foot is not bothering in the least.
Holding 73 offense. Still second down.
It has been a long time since I've been around a football game that had as many holding calls as we're seeing tonight. They are everywhere.
That's big James Patrick.
That's Fitzpatrick right here, number 73. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. He's working against Wilt. He falls back to the inside and gobbles up his man, and that's just, again, another flag. We're getting used to it.
2nd and 20, and they keep it on the ground with Craig. Fights his way out to the 18-yard line. Ricky Jackson among those making the stop. Roger Craig picked up from San Francisco. It's a veteran team, a lot of guys in their 30s. And, well, you know, the Raiders have been through the years. They're kind of a halfway house. Give us your indigent, problem, and poor, and the rest.
I'll take him to the Super Bowl.
Right. 3rd and 16 at the 18-yard line. Marcus Allen back in the game. Craig out. 4-man rush. A little dump off to Allen. Another flag for a change. Up past the 30, and look at Marcus fight his way out to the 34. That's close to a first down, but a marker down back at the 17.
Somebody got a lineman downfield on that. A little late developing.
It'll be a victory of sorts if it's not holding.
It's got to be holding.
There is no infraction on the field. The pass has been thrown.
Well, Marcus gets it up to a first down. Yeah, you're right. It must have been the ineligible receiver downfield, but upon further review on the field, they said after the pass was thrown.
Jackson getting in the face of Schrader. Now, there's the lineman moving upfield, but the ball is in the air. That's what they were going to call, and they reviewed it on the field, and they said absolutely not. So, Allen comes up a little short of the first down.
They're going to measure anyway, but it appears from here that he's a couple of inches shy, and that's going to mean it's 4th down at the 34-yard line. And he is indeed short of the first down.
You know, you have to wonder, the Raiders have almost totally gotten away from passing the ball with their backs coming out of the backfield. Roger Craig and Marcus Allen, their careers, the two of them have over 4,000 yards receiving, and yet they Raiders' offensive style is to go upfield to Fernandez, to Brown, to Golden, and Allen, and Roger Craig. Well, they just don't figure much into the passing game other than in a screen.
Jeff Gossett to punt. Line drive fielded at the 25 by Gil Senator. Tackled at the 30-yard line. Stop is made there by Derek Cooter. So the Saints will have it with 8:54 left in the third. New Orleans up 3-0. So the New Orleans Saints, they're up 3-0. But
the last 4 games, they had the lead going into the fourth quarter. Lost all 4 of them, and as we touched upon at the top of the show, outscored 51-7 in the fourth quarter of these last 4 losses.
And no team in the history of the league has ever blown 4 consecutive fourth quarter leads.
But again, Bobby Ada also is not the quarterback for those 4 games.
McAfee up to the 32. Here it is graphically on the 17th of November, looking at the first line. They led San Diego by 7, lost by 3. The following week they led Atlanta 13-10 and eventually 20-10, lost by 3 in OT. Lost to the 49ers at Candlestick 2 weeks ago. Last week they actually led Dallas by a point and wound up losing by 9. And in their other loss this season against Chicago, they also led at the end of 3 and lost that one as well. 2nd and 8. And did Richard Cooper move on the left side?
Lots of flags.
Ball start. Prior to the snap. 71 offense. Still second down.
Well, he has to get into the act. I think that's the first penalty on Cooper. I know we've had him on Brock, Williams, Hilgenberg, and Dombrowski. The irony was Cooper's the one guy they were really concerned about tonight. Saints.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. A little double clutch there by Richard Cooper. Guy who's really turned in a pretty doggone good performance over at left tackle. I mean, well beyond not just getting called for any penalty.
So every interior lineman has been flagged at least once tonight. 2nd and 13, and Hebert has to take a timeout.
And you could see there was some confusion there. The Saints had 4 guys moving into a different formation, and it was obviously the wrong formation.
Yeah, Bobby just looked up and his
New Orleans.
play clock.
Number 1. 7:48 remaining in the third quarter. Saints holding on 3-0. Rochia, 2nd and 13 at the 28-yard line. 2-0 Saints. 7:48 left in the third. There's Hebert. Throws into traffic at the 42, and Martin makes the catch and pays the price. And is on top of him.
And Ronnie Lott trying to audition himself for the lead in Terminator 3. What a hit. How often do you see this? Watch this. Ronnie gave some, got some, but that is called turning yourself into a projectile.
Yeah, Martin put a pretty good shot on Ronnie Lott there, too. That was a double spin by both of them.
There was a little give and take there.
1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. Pressure from Townsend, but Hebert steps up and away from it and hits the tight end Tice, and he takes it to the 47-yard line. Benson and Lott converge on a tackle, and once more, Bobby Hebert is on the turf.
You know, I bet he's been down 10 or 12 times tonight, and it's just kind of amazing. He's coming off a very sore shoulder. Couldn't play last week with it. And it's more the rotator cuff, however, than the bruised shoulder that he had early in the year. But Ronnie Lott, once again...
Nolan Harrison is actually going to be the guy here at 74 that ends up on top of Hebert.
And Lott again is bruising both shoulders tonight downfield.
2nd and 4 at the 47-yard line. Catch is made by Buford Jordan, and that's a first down. He's out of bounds at the Raider 42-yard line. Crowd singing his name, Buford Jordan. Jordan will play more and more. He was seeing action with Hayward on injured reserve, and of course, as Dan mentioned at the very top, Ironhead Hayward has been suspended for the balance of 1991. Jordan's the guy.
And it's been almost exclusively McAfee, the young rookie, as the running back for the Saints here in the second half.
1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Here's McAfee. He gets taken down on a nice tackle by Winston Moss after a gain of 3.
We saw Bobby Hebert's numbers there, and really, if you were to sit back now, here we are in the third quarter, and assess his performance so far for a guy who hasn't been on the field in 7 weeks. He missed 6 full games. I think he's been very impressive. He's been accurate. He's evaded the rush. He's moved around. He's broken free, and he's taken a lot of punishment. This is a good outing by Bobby Hebert. The only problem? Only 3 points on the board.
2nd and 7 at the 39. 5:20 left in the third. Hebert threads the needle to the tight end Tice. A first down at the 20-yard line. Tackled by Ellison.
I mean, I think that throw right there is indicative of the kind of night he's been having, Frank. It's tough to throw it any better than that.
That was one that Ronnie Lott did not take a shot at. Tice goes about 250, and I think Lott maybe a little second thought about that. He has been hammering receivers downfield, but Tice is a big one, about 250. And Hebert again with a huge leather band. I mean, he is, for being out as long as he has been absolutely pinpoint perfect with the passing game.
First down at the 22. Tice in motion. McAfee.
Run out of bounds by Rock, close to a first down.
Okay, there's some acceleration. We talked about it earlier. Fred McAfee, 5'10", 193-pounder, and they cut him at the beginning of the season. He'd shown a lot of flashes, but Al mentioned he played at a Division II school, Mississippi College, but he had over 4,300 yards there. You saw one of the reasons why so many yards, because at that level of football, if you have that kind of afterburner to kick in when you get around the corner, you're going to get a lot of yards.
They will measure the 4 drives tonight inside the 25, the field goal, the missed field goal, the fumble, and then, of course, the end of the half when they threw a pass down the middle without a timeout left and couldn't even attempt the field goal.
Boy, that little burst by McAfee gets the first down. He's extraordinary, I think. He can run inside, too, even though he's not that big. But again, he lines up about 8 yards deep in that eye and just kind of looks it over. And makes those quick moves either the inside or the outside. A lot of talent right here.
9 carries, 52 yards, almost 6 yards a carry tonight for McAfee. First and 10 at the 12. And that's McAfee in motion. Bear pressured and then just throws it away. Pressured by Nolan Harrison.
McAfee was the intended receiver, and well, a little rookie mistake there. He just got leveled, and coming up the field, I think it was Greg Townsend, and he knocked him off, and about the time Abear started to look for him, McAfee was trying to recover his senses. Watch number 93. Now, McAfee is in motion. Boom. Abear looks for McAfee, and he's flat on his back. And here comes Townsend. Townsend tried to give Abear a kick in the chest. He got everybody. He was going to leg kick him down, I think.
Second and 10, Dalton Hilliard is the ace back in this set. Hilliard with the ball. Big hole. Inside the 3. Tackled by Anderson and Moss. Short of the first down.
Huge hole inside. And again, I want to touch on the fact that Bob Golick remains on the Raiders sideline. Nolan Harrison, a rookie, is in there. And watch number 74. He's over the center. He spins back and is just totally removed from the play by Joel Hilgenberg, the center. And the Raiders are really being exploited between their tackles. Dave Adolph there, their defensive coordinator. He knows what's going on, but how to stop it is another matter.
New Orleans going to have to hurry this play to the line of scrimmage. They brought in a couple of people, and the clock is running out on them. They're not going to get this play off, I don't believe.
Third down and 1, and they have to take a timeout again. That's their second of this half.
Yeah, just managing the clock could hurt the Saints down the line as they have to use a timeout.
The Saints have gained roughly 6.5 times as much yardage as the Raiders tonight. Yet the score is still 3-0.
Now Bob Golick has come into the lineup. There he is, limping noticeably, but Dave Adolph inserts his defensive tackle, and Golick will try to do his best impersonation of a little Dutch boy and put his thumb in the dike.
Third and 1 for the first. 2.5 for the touch. Play fake. Sloppy looking play. Flag in the end zone. Abear down. Anderson made contact with an intended receiver in the end zone. Greer checks it out with a field judge.
And Ricky Ellison scrapes off the outside and just plants Abear.
Pass interference. 33. Defense in the end zone. First down.
Bobby Abear again pays a heavy toll for throwing the football. Ricky Ellison comes on the blitz. Watch the right side of your screen. Here comes Ellison, number 50, and he's going to put the hat right on Abear, and just there's no doubt of Anderson being called for interference. He's there well before the ball.
He nailed Hobie Brenner and brought the flag.
First and goal at the 1.
Hilliard, touchdown. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Abear says, finally we get it in there, and boy, give him a lot of credit tonight. He has stayed in there, hung in there, taken a tremendous pounding in the first quarter and here in the third quarter.
Almost every release he gets hit. And you can hear the collective moaning and groaning in San Francisco. The 49ers are in trouble.
They need a loss by the Saints here tonight and next week against Phoenix. Good looking play. Lead block made there by Buford Jordan, a heavy hitter.
Moaning in Philadelphia as well. Anderson to the point answer. But it took them 41 minutes and 56 seconds, but they finally got there.
Larry Williams and Buford Jordan, key block. 66. Watch Williams.
Well, you have to credit the Saints offensively tonight. When they haven't been hurting themselves with penalties and the like, they have been controlling the line of scrimmage. They have been opening some giant holes in the Raiders' defensive line and linebacker corps. And I think Art Shell has had a little time go by since he's seen his defensive team physically moved around the way they are here tonight.
And he has to be a little concerned because they were moved around pretty well in the second half last week against Buffalo
In a game they had firmly in control and allowed to get away from them.
Raiders after last week, rated 19th against the rush in the NFL, but the Raiders, they don't really put much stock in statistics. They just figure out a way to win it. They play their Raider football, and usually it isn't all that pretty, but somewhere along the line they make the big play, they get the key play, and they keep themselves in it and try to win it at the end. And last week against Buffalo, just everything came apart at the end of that game. Howie Long on the left. I expect him back from a bad knee from a week ago. We talked about him being out of the lineup.
You saw him next to Scott Davis. Have you ever seen that sort of contrast in haircuts?
No.
But that's the Raiders.
I know one thing. Golden flowing locks.
Yes. And long brush cut.
I wouldn't want to discuss whether or not he should cut it with him. Oh, no, he's too big for that.
Morton Anderson kick floats into the arms of Jamie Holland. Flag.
Out to the 21.
Saints have more yards and penalties tonight than the Raiders do in total offense.
88-59.
Illegal block. 73 is CBC on the run back.
Well, I think the time has come in this ballgame with 2 minutes and 52 seconds left in the third quarter for the Raiders to unleash their vaunted vertical passing game. You've got Fernandez, Dalton, Timmy Brown, and the big gun in Schrader. I think it's time to stretch the defense a little bit. If you don't complete it, at least serve notice that you've got a long ball arsenal and you're not afraid to use it.
Against the real banged up secondary.
The Raiders haven't tried.
They open in an eye. Fake to Allen. Schrader deep out to Willie Galt. His first catch and only his 20th catch of the season. In this, the 16th game of the season.
Well, Matt thought Galt was going to take it deep. Galt put a big move on him like he was going to take a fly, and Schrader timed it out perfect for Galt. Now watch Galt. He has great speed. Former track star, and Mack has to respect that speed. Started to sprint with him, and Galt broke it back to the sidelines, and a fine pass delivered by Schrader.
And you really don't blame Mack for playing it like that. He got a 10-0 lead.
And he was in single coverage.
Lowest in the league among wide receivers with at least 8 starts. He's averaging less than a catch and a half per game, Willie Galt. From the 27. Schrader going deep for Galt, and he's double covered, and it's not even close. Atkins back there, and Brett Maxey as well. 2nd and 10.
Now again, the Raiders had no one underneath. They kept Marcus Allen in for protection. They had no back in the pattern. They had their tight end deep downfield, and even though Galt was covered, he had to hang it up there, and he knew he just threw it where it wouldn't be intercepted.
The deepest penetration tonight for the Raiders has been their own 43-yard line, and
think about that. Their own 43.
Second and 10 at the 27. 2:15 to go in the third. Marcus Allen exploits the hole and takes it out to the 36-yard line where he scored the first. It'll be 3rd and 1. Atkins makes the tackle.
Midfield must seem like an awful long way away.
Trubisky flashing in the sign.
I guess it just proves the point, though, that even though they're banged up at cornerback, this is still an outstanding New Orleans defense. The front seven is sensational, and they fly to the football, but they're overcoming the kind of personnel losses they've had in the secondary.
3rd and 1. Here's Allen swinging to the outside. And the 1981 Heisman Trophy winner has a first down up at the 44, run out by Mark Lee. Allen gave it a look to the inside, and Ricky Jackson, the outside linebacker, took it all the way and got caught on the inside, and Allen took it to the outside for a big game. And these are great linebackers. A couple of them, Von Johnson and Sam Mills, have been playing hurt with bad knees, but all four of these linebackers, Jackson and Mills and Johnson and Swilling, have all been to the Pro Bowl. About as good a collection as you're going to find. And this is the best. 1st and 10 at the 44. Smith in motion. End around, he was bobbled by Brown, and that's the end of the play.
What a great look at Swilling. We were in on him, said he was the best. He read that all the way. The big man is so quick at 6'3" and 240 pounds. He sees it coming. We're in on the pass rush, but he sees it coming right at him. Get set. Well, I think what really the problem, you got to credit Pat Swilling, but the fake to Marcus Allen was really poor. The ball was out there where everybody could see it, including Pat Swilling. And he saw that Schrader still had the ball and didn't bite for it at all. Swilling took the outside away from Brown and turned him back into the pursuit.
It's 2nd and 11. And Schrader sacked at the 35-yard line. Wayne Martin. He was flushed out by Ricky Jackson, and then Martin came in to end it.
I'll tell you, the Saints maybe only have 10 points, but they are putting a royal thumping on the Raiders tonight. Well, conversely, their defense has allowed none.
Clock ticking down, and the Raiders will let it run out to end the third. We'll start the fourth. Saints up 10-0, trying to get into the playoffs. So the Saints will return with Monday Night Football after this word from our ABC station. Dan Plunkett in the foreground there, one of the analysts on the Raiders radio broadcast.
Fond memories in this building.
Yeah, led him to a Super Bowl win here against the Philadelphia Eagles.
My old teammate from the 1971 College All-Star squad.
Stop picking that draft by the New England Patriots. Start the fourth quarter, 3rd and 18. Schrader fires, intended for goal, and he was quadruple covered.
He was mugged. He was quadruple hit. I mean, he now was covered by 4 people. I think all 4 of them hit him. Watch number 83, top of your screen. The Saints dropping into a zone defense, inside-outside coverage. Now watch this. Willie, brace yourself, baby.
They could have used him as a bridge table.
Yeah, it's easy for us to laugh when Willie's getting pounded down on the field. Guess what? That forces a punt.
Jeff Gossett on 4th and 18. Centerly at the 16-yard line, and a wonderful tackle. Elvis Patterson out of practice the other day. He said, get me to Honolulu. Get me to the Pro Bowl. Patterson's been there enough.
That's how you do it.
Yep.
Fine play by Patterson.
Raiders, but it comes back, and thus Gossett will have to kick again to Fennerty. With 14:45 to go.
We'll see if Patterson didn't do it twice in a row.
Yeah. Elvis wants us to politic for him for the Pro Bowl. Unfortunately, I didn't have the heart to tell Elvis the balloting has already been done.
Yeah, he's playing with a sprained groin muscle, too, and he was wondering how long he could go tonight.
Got his kick. Penalty this time called for a fair catch. And sure enough, the greeting party is Elvis Patterson.
I think Elvis is telling Finnerty to leave the building.
When he was a cornerback with the Giants, they used to call him Toast because he got burned a lot. He said, They told me Toast because I was the toast of the town.
Form your own opinion. We watch him if he does.
New Orleans, it's almost like a root canal trying to get to the playoffs, get to a possible NFC West title. They lead 10-0. In fact, the Saints were born in 1967.
This is more like Route 66.
Yeah. Heading down the highway, they have never won a division title.
And with Archie Manning,
It's the longest current streak in the NFL, but this year, in the NFC West, here they were with a big 4-game lead on November 10th.
now comes the gas guzzler tax. Watch that game.
Yep, here we go. All of a sudden, they're running on half full and trying to avoid going down.
I think they pumped it up a little bit tonight. They have played superb on defense. Good enough with Bobby Aber back on offense.
Tom Benson owns the team.
Tom Benson.
They're waiting for 5 weeks to do the Benson boogie.
He gets it on when they win. But again, they need to win tonight to guarantee a wild card. And then if they can win that next week, they get Phoenix in Phoenix. And if Dallas can knock off Atlanta, then they're going to win the division.
First down at the 19-yard line. There on a tight roll, little low throw. The Tice makes the pass. And Eddie Anderson is there to make the initial stop up at the 25-yard line.
Well, I think Benson's hurt again. Yeah, Benson's going to have to leave the game.
He was hurt earlier, missed most of the first half, and let's take a look at the numbers for 3 quarters of play.
That was a frightening record. Twice the time of possession. The Raiders 89 total yards through 3 quarters. I mean, this is scary, really, how badly they're whooping up on the Saints. And there's Benson, who just really tried to give it a go and injured himself again on that very last play.
Jerry Robinson spells him. Second down and 3. Dalton Hilliard picks up the first down. Eddie Anderson again. Let's mention Bill Parcells. The news coming out tonight. Bill underwent an angioplasty. That's a non-surgical procedure at a New Jersey hospital to clear the arteries. Generally, patients are released from the hospital in a day or two. They do almost 300,000 of these procedures per year. But that report coming out today, and there had been speculation that one of the reasons Bill stepped down as coach of the Giants was because of his health. First down for the Saints at the 30-yard line. As Hebert throws, the catch is made by Buford Jordan, and he picks up about 6 to the 36.
Speaking of Parcells, I spoke to his wife, Judy, at halftime, and she said he's doing just fine. Everything is sure is just going to be fine with Bill Parcells. And it was almost a routine procedure, as they say today. It's almost a routine procedure to pick up the newspaper every day and see Bill Parcells headed to Tampa, headed to Green Bay. Parcells denying that he's going anywhere.
Right.
Listen to other people say he is going.
Right. Bill may very well be sitting by the dock of A Bay next year.
I'm glad to hear he's doing well.
Second down and 4 from the 37-yard line. Hilliard out to the 42-yard line. Wallace and Robinson make the tackle. Speaking of coaches, this is one of the few games in the league this weekend not featuring a team whose coach is in some sort of job jeopardy.
I think that we may see at the conclusion of the 91 season as large a turnover in head coaches as we have seen in a long, long time. It has, there are many coaches who may find themselves no longer head coaches, being a head coach someplace else. There may be a mad scramble here of musical chairs when this season's over. It'll be hard to get through to some of the favorites, won't it? Yeah.
From the 42-yard line.
Please remember, I'll get back to you.
Yep. Hilliard swings to the outside. I'll tell you this, for what it's worth, and we hate to fuel speculation and rumor and all of that.
No, we don't.
Well, why not? I wouldn't be surprised to see Parcells coach next year, Buddy Ryan coach next year. Wouldn't totally discount Bill Walsh next year.
No, and I think you can almost count on some assistants around this league, guys like Mike Holmgren, who almost certainly I think is going to be a head coach somewhere. I just think that it's the type of year where we may see 5, 6, 7, 8. Raiders quarterback coach Mike White has been mentioned prominently as there's another candidate.
2nd and 10 at the 42-yard line.
Joe Green out of Pittsburgh, a lot of it.
There, incomplete.
Well, the only place Joe Green would be head coach would be Pittsburgh. If others certainly Chuck Noll decides to step down.
Well, already Jerry Burns has announced he's done, so you need a coach in Minnesota. John Robinson has all but announced he's done in L.A. That's a given. Chuck Knox, I mean, it's been denied, but it wouldn't be that surprising to see a change in two.
No, it would not.
Indianapolis, Rick Venturi is there for the moment. Green Bay and Tampa Bay, of course.
Dan Henning in San Diego.
Right.
Question mark there.
3rd and 11 at the...
It's a great job, isn't it? Yeah. Well, there's only 28 guys doing it, and a whole lot of others who would like to.
Hebert up to the 45-yard line. The catch is made by Floyd Turner. Tackle is made by Gary Lewis.
Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Raiders here are just a couple of big plays away from being right in this ball game, and you'll wonder if they're going to remain dormant for the entire game. And there's a guy right there who single-handedly could turn things around. He tried to do it last week against Buffalo with a 78-yard pass reception for a touchdown. It was really only about a 12-yard pass. The great thing about Tim Brown, he's finally back from that knee surgery in '89. He's back 100% to what he used to be.
Boy, hard to catch.
Made some great moves in that Buffalo game.
And they try to block it, and they do. It is blocked by Crudup. And the Raiders have it at the 32-yard line. Exactly the play they needed. Derek Crudup with the block from the outside.
It's a say, but it's Raider football. They always seem to make that big play, and they make it in the second half so frequently.
Well, they played brilliantly on special teams this year outside of last week, and part of the reason they didn't play brilliantly was Patterson was hurt.
The Saints were in a real tight formation. They thought the Raiders were going to pressure up the middle. They really collapsed their formation, and of course that just shortened the corner for Crudup, who really didn't have to take much of a circuitous route to get in there and block that punt.
And leave it to the defense to give the Raiders their deepest offensive penetration of the night. At the 33, Raiders for Brown. He gets bumped, and then it's off in the end zone.
They're going to call it. They're going to say it's an interception.
Mark Lee is the guy.
He hit the ground, and the ball came out. Remember, though, the ground is different on a reception or an interception than it is when you're running the football. You're really supposed to demonstrate possession after you hit the ground. But it's ruled an interception. And a big play by one team becomes a big play for another. The ball is thrown short. Can't see from that angle when it came out. Doesn't matter much. Up in the replay booth. Watch Mark Lee. There he has the football. Now watch when he comes down. He makes contact with the end zone, and the ball comes loose. Remember now, the replay booth can take a look at this, and if they decide he did not have possession, they will call this an incomplete pass. And if that's the case, it's still the Raiders' ball. The call on the field was that he had possession, and thus it's an interception. Well, it looked like he had possession, too. He came in with the football. Again, Schrader underthrew the football. But remember, and Lee goes up for it, and right here, does he have possession? I think he does. But, Frank, the old thing is, on a running play, the ground can't cause a fumble. That is not true on a passing play. So So if the ground knocked it out, it's
At the
incomplete.
further review, it is ruled an incomplete pass.
The feet were not on the ground. He had possession, and he makes contact with the ground, pops it up. The feet have not been on the ground, and it's an incomplete pass. That's it exactly. I think that's a very effective call by instant replay. And very revealing, too. Mark Lee was thoroughly beaten there. We talked about the cornerback problems of the Saints. They've lost 4 of them this year. Mark Lee is on one side, and Milton Mack is on the other side. Mark Lee wasn't even here, 10 days ago?
Dave Hawk is the replay official, and this crowd has turned hawkish.
Yes.
Second down and 10 at the 33-yard line. Marcus Allen takes it to the 30-yard line. The tackle is made by Vaughn Johnson. We have 9:20 remaining in regulation. 10-0 Saints, who are playing, of course, in the dreaded fourth quarter.
I think you got to go now with something, even though they don't like to do it. Working Marcus Allen out of the backfield, but you need a third down. You need a first down here. Inside 10 minutes remaining to be played.
Again, the Saints have seen 4 leads evaporate in the fourth quarter the last 4 weeks. They lead 10-0. 3rd and 7 at the 30-yard line. Schrader runs out of time. Sacked by Ricky Jackson.
And now you're looking with the sack. You're looking at something in excess of 50 yards for a field goal. They got the kicker, Jaeger, that can get it there. He's had a couple of 50s thus far, one of 53, so he can reach it. This one's got to be about 52. All the time in the world, you just call that a coverage sack. Allen, look at Allen, wide open out here. But Schrader was in all kinds of trouble. He was thinking of his welfare as the pocket collapsed on him.
Well, spotted close enough to the 43. It'll be a 53-yard field goal for Jaeger. Gossett holds, and Jaeger's kick is no good because it hits the crossbar.
Hits the crossbar and bounces away. And how does that sack come into play? Without that sack, that identical kick is good for 3 points. How good is this Saint defense? Right now, the Raiders are finding out that they are everything that they were billed to be.
Jaeger hitting the crossbar from 62.
Gets tremendous height on this kick, but it runs out of forward velocity. And gravity takes effect. One of the problems when you miss them out there, good field position for New Orleans, the line of scrimmage.
35-yard line, and now McAfee and the Saints will try to take as much time off the clock as they can. Ellison makes the tackle, and we have 8 minutes left in regulation.
If the Saints can do a little something more with their secondary, work Mack and Mark Lee into the secondary and play a little bit more zone, get Vaughn Johnson well on the inside, Sam Mills, they're going to be quite a force in the playoffs. And they've got a great defense, and that's usually the telling factor in the playoffs.
2nd and 8.
Got their quarterback back. He's played well tonight.
Puts his head down, but he's still a little short of the first down, as you can see. He gets to the 44, stopped by Aaron Wallace, and he's going to set up a 3rd and 1 or less. 3rd and inches.
One thing Jim Moore, though, has to be thinking about the playoffs if the Saints win this game is, even though they will have recovered from that 4-game win streak, and again I say if they win this ball game, with the problems at cornerback, you really have to wonder in the playoffs how far can his team go with a serious liability like they had. And granted, tonight Mack and Lee have played well, but they're not as good as on a lot of other ball clubs.
3rd and 1. And Jordan rolls.
I don't think he got there. They need a good spot.
You think Greg close enough to measure?
And Johnny Greer's first down. must have missed something. It didn't look that easy, did it? Little pirouette. But look at that offensive line. They're dominating now.
Yeah, how does he get the nose of the ball to the stripe?
Jordan looked like he was a full yard short of her. Whoa.
First down, Saints at the 45-yard line. Under 6 minutes to play. McAfee gets taken down by Lionel Washington. It'll be 2nd and 12. Well, some anxious people looking on in San Francisco and Philadelphia. And they're pretty happy right now in Denver because a win by the Saints glimpses the AFC West for Denver. And the other thing that's kind of been lost in the shuffle here is that if Houston loses to the Giants at the Meadowlands this week, and Denver wins at San Diego, Denver would have that first round bye.
Oh, how nice that fifth-place schedule can be.
They'd have a first-round bye and a second-round game at home. Big difference between having the second-best division record and the third-best. Big difference.
Big.
2nd and 12, and Abear lost one into the arms of Quinn Early, who had position on McDaniel and takes it to the 30 for a first down.
Again, good read by Abear. The blitz by the Raiders, single coverage. And Abear just laid it up beautifully. McDaniel on the coverage. The blitz is on, so he's got single coverage on Early. Not bad position, but Abear put it in the perfect spot. And when you think about San Francisco and you think about Philadelphia, those are two quality football teams that aren't going to be there for the big dance at the end of the year. I mean, it has been a while since we've seen that kind of quality not in the playoffs.
1st and 10 at the 30. And there is no play. This one was over before it started.
56 offense, prior to the snap. It's still first down. If you would have said at the beginning of the year, what's your pick for the NFC Championship game, to say, well, I see Randall Cunningham and the Eagles playing Joe Montana and the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, I don't think you could have got many people to say you were off base.
I'll tell you the other weird thing, Dan, is that a few weeks ago, not that long ago, we thought 9 and 7 might get into the playoffs. 10 and 6 would certainly get in. Now, Philadelphia and San Francisco can both wind up 10 and 6 and both go home.
Yep.
Bobby Abear, what a night for his career high. 1st and 15 at the 35. 4:02 remaining. 10-0 Saints. There's a flag. Hilliard is out of bounds at the 34.
I'm not sure you can improve Abear's popularity in New Orleans, but he's certainly trying with the game he's turned in tonight.
Yeah, you come off the bench, you haven't played for 6 weeks, you're going up against the Raiders to have the kind of night he has had.
Offside, 74, defense, for first down.
Well, they've had the all-time love-hate relationship with him. He comes here at first, they love him. He's a native son. He sits out all of last year. They didn't exactly welcome him back with open arms this year. He had to win their approval again.
But he did.
Well, he certainly did.
And quite a resurgence. And really, you can't criticize Steve Walsh there in the way he played in Abear's absence. He really turned in a very credible job at quarterback, and the Saints are pretty well stocked at quarterback.
1st and 10. Hilliard. There's another irony at play here. When Abear sat out last year, the Raiders tried to get him. And the Raiders made an offer which was rejected by the Saints.
The Saints made an offer to the Raiders.
It was my understanding the Raiders made the offer to the Saints, and the Saints said no. There's Al Davis.
And I think, though, that the Saints countered and said, we'll take this and that. And, of course, it was too much. It was too much for Al Davis. He
actually went back and forth for months before all of a sudden it was too late for Abear to do anything.
Well, what Abear did along the way is he filed a suit And that suit, which looked like it was going to be thrown out of court, was reinstituted, if that's the proper word, by the California Supreme Court last year. So you've got Hebert suing because he wasn't allowed to sign with the Raiders as a free agent last year.
And then Al Davis solves the problem in the offseason by drafting Marinovich number 1
And trading Burline.
Yeah. And Hebert signs a contract with New Orleans that takes him to next year. And everybody's happy.
Yeah. Do-si-do.
Merry Christmas.
3:50 remaining.
There's something about a quarterback, though. I mean, Walsh just didn't have this team behind him, even though he had the good numbers. He threw the ball effectively, and they lost those 4 games after leading in the fourth quarter. People can blame that on the defense, but a quarterback infects the entire football team. Not only just the offense, but the defense, too. And the defense was just not playing the same kind of defense that they had played in those first 9 football games. And I think it was partially a reflection of the lack of confidence in young Steve Walsh. And they love this guy.
2nd and 7 after the Raiders took that last time out. There were 2 remaining.
And Hebert would like to play an AFC team every week.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Undefeated.
Undefeated. Buford Jordan takes it to the 26-yard line.
And the Raiders will spend another timeout.
And it appears that they are on the verge of moving a figure over into the loss column of the greatest Monday night team ever. The Raiders just don't give it up very easy on Monday night. But tonight, the Saints are taking it.
And one of the others. 3rd and 5 at the 25-yard line. Hebert to the outside and too high, and it stops the clock with 3:39. Eric Martin, the intended receiver, and McDaniel was covering on the play.
McDaniel is close enough for Hebert to not risk the interception. Not going to do anything dangerous with this kind of lead, time running out, and with a field goal kicker like Morton Anderson. That pass just hopscotched out of bounds.
Morton Anderson tries to make it 13-0. This will be a 42-yard attempt. Tommy Barnhart to hold. And Morton Anderson took, whoa, good, and probably would have been good from about 60.
Oh, he pumped up.
Or he made a 60-yard.
He almost kicked that thing over the top of the net that's protecting the crowd.
Yeah, they've already begun celebrating on Bourbon Street. Well, they celebrate the that team win or lose. What am I talking about?
That must be the piano at Mother's.
I don't think so. Who's mother?
I don't know.
13-0 is the score with 3:35 remaining. Now the Raiders have 1 timeout left, plus the clock will stop at the 2-minute warning. You know, the Raiders, you want to go into the playoffs with a head of steam here. Now they have a critical game next week against Kansas City in terms of what happens the following week. You come off a devastating loss to Buffalo last week. This is a real clunker for them tonight. They're not exactly going into the last week of the season the way they would like.
No, they will get a shot in the arm, hopefully with the return of Howie Long. And there is a lot of veteran leadership. And talking about veteran leadership, there's a couple of them right there. Terry McDaniel and Ronnie Lott. And there's number 75. He'll be coming off a pretty bad knee, Dan, and you got Golik. I mean, he's playing just on sheer cut at the out there, and there's Freddie Biletnikoff, the receiver coach. And you wonder how Schrader's going to wake up tomorrow. That's the right ankle. That's the ankle that the right-handed passer sets up on. It'll be sore. It'll be real sore.
Raiders, as Dan mentioned, the kings of Monday Night Football, but if they lose this one, it'll be their 2nd loss in 2 appearances this year.
Freddie was pumped up.
Anderson boots it 8 yards into the end zone. Holland downs it there. Meanwhile, the last time the Raiders were held under 100 yards, it's only happened once in the history of this franchise. In 1961 against San Diego, they were held to 58 yards. That's 30 years ago. And tonight, just 88. Did you remember that? Absolutely.
Boy, if Al Davis saw that graphic, he's going to get word down that we need 12 yards desperately here. Well, they got 3.5 minutes to try to get those 12 yards.
First and 10, LA at the 20. And Schrader's pass is incomplete. Second and 10. You know, the Raiders played so well and have historically on Monday night. If we lose tonight, they'll still be 29-9-1. The last time they were shut out, though, was on a Monday night in 1986 in Seattle when they were killed 37-0.
Saints right now with just about every defensive back they've got. They've got 6 of them out there. Some of them are just getting acquainted with their new teammates.
Second and 10. Schrader hits Ethan Horton, who's been pretty quiet tonight. And the ball comes loose. And it is a fumble and a Saint recovery.
No whistle had blown. Somebody just kept pulling till it came out. You talk about good news, bad news. I think he picked up the 12 yards. Bad news is he fumbled the ball. He did. Over the impassive Bernard Shell. He does hear what's going on offensively as well as defensively, and he can override it all, often does. Well, again, you would think that replay will take a look at this to try to determine. Let's watch the knees of Ethan Horton. Yeah, he's not down, and the ball comes out. That's a fumble all the way.
Gene Atkins forcing it. And it was Benny Thompson recovering it. And the Saints now, with 3:11 to go, well, they can't quite run the clock out because the Raiders have one timeout, plus it's going to stop at the 2-minute warning.
A long ride home, what, at 7:47 with a lot of fans, a lot of sponsors of the Raiders.
Into the wind. And they get ready to face Kansas City next week. Here's Joe Finnerty turning the corner inside the 20 and out of bounds at the 10.
And there's a flag. That'll be an unnecessary roughness call against the Raiders. They continue to ride Finnerty well out of bounds.
Washington and Lott were the guys who took him out.
I think it was against Washington. I looked as though Ronnie Lott was trying to keep him upright.
48, defense, lays it out of bounds. First down.
Really, the call there, I mean, Washington is on Finnerty when they're in bounds. I guess the officials are saying you should have known you were out of bounds and not drive him into the ground.
Oh, man, that's tough. He was trying to save a touchdown to begin with, and
I'm not arguing.
he's choked up.
There's no other way you can describe it, though, is what the official calls. I mean, that's the only thing they could have expected him to do was realize where he was and not take him into the ground and drive him in. And you're right, that's asking an awful lot.
First and goal at the 5. Kennedy takes it to the 3.
You know, it's asking an awful lot, especially when your face is buried in a guy's back. And you're riding him out of bounds. But really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a penalty.
Well, you're in a full sprint to save a touchdown also.
You lose track of where you are. You're in bounds, really. Yeah. I mean, that's not as flagrant as a lot that you see that don't get called. A good acquisition, though, for the Raiders. Lionel Washington, they got him from the Cardinals.
Second and goal. Touchdown, Joe Finnerty.
This is a thumping. Look out, Bourbon Street. You got a big crowd coming your way. Huge gaping hole over the right side, and it has been all night long. Good job by an offensive line playing without one of the starters, Chris Port. right guard, replaced by Larry Williams. Hobie Brenner, number 85, making a good turnout block, and the Infinity just driven into the end zone. Big, big, big hole. Credit these guys up front. Hilgenberg, Williams, Brock, Dombrowski, Cooper, Hobie Brenner, the tight end, John Tice playing some tight end. They have been blocking fools tonight. Anderson makes it 20-0. Kennedy, the leading rusher, coming into tonight, but he did most of that early in the season, and last 5 or 6 games it's been Fred McAfee that's been the leading rusher. Oh, this Superdome is fired up. Well, they ought to be. They've waited over a month for this. And the second time franchise history to reach the playoffs, and they're still alive for a division title. They win at Phoenix. Dallas knocks off Atlanta. They win that division for the first time ever.
Well, next week, funny the way it works out. Saints go to Phoenix, but by the time they either take the field or just shortly after the game starts against the Cardinals, they're going to know exactly what they have to do, because if Atlanta beats Dallas, then it's moot. And Atlanta, it doesn't matter what the Saints do, but if Dallas beats Atlanta, the Saints will all of a sudden be a different team at Sun Devil Stadium next Sunday.
You're right, they will. And even though the Cardinals have lost 7 in a row, they have made it tough for their opponents. And that's a football team I wouldn't look to roll over and play dead.
So that's there are 2 big games next week. Clearly, Atlanta-Dallas will impact the New Orleans-Phoenix game. The big game in the AFC will be Miami against the Jets for the right to advance.
You know, almost as much as getting Hebert back over the Saints tonight, the fact that the defense has played just superb. They've got good pass pressure from Swilling and Jackson. That's what they haven't been getting over the past few weeks. But they're back defensively.
Gordon Anderson's kick is not a work of art, but it's a touchback in the record book. Well, Denver's going to win the West. And as we mentioned before, it's still to be determined as to who gets the bye. Right now, Houston still has to beat the Giants because Denver can become the number 2 seed. And there it is. The Broncos will win the West. Saints go to the playoffs, still alive for the NFC West title, as we said. San Francisco and Philadelphia eliminated from playoff contention tonight. Raiders and Chiefs at the Coliseum next week. If the Raiders win, then the Raiders and Chiefs will meet again the following week in the playoffs. If the Chiefs win, they will meet in Kansas City. So they're playing for home field advantage
Against each other.
Yep. They're going to play 2 in a row. Vince Evans is back in and has it intercepted by Brett Maxey. And Brett Maxey scores.
And there's Tom Benson, the owner of the Saints. And get ready. Come on, Tom. You know when the camera's on you. And this crowd has come to party, and they're not leaving. Look at this. It's not often in a 26-0 ball game you'll find this many people at this time of night still sitting in their seats wanting to celebrate with their team. Appropriately enough, it's been defense that has lost football games. If they led 4 consecutive times in the fourth quarter, it's been the defense that won this one. It's being looked at by the instant replay as to whether or not he might have crapped it. That is pretty to watch, even if they do bring him back. Brett Maxey.
Meanwhile, the Saints, well, if you're going to have to take a timeout, this is the spot here. Before they kick the extra point, they take a timeout because they only had 10 men on the field.
The play, which ruled an interception on the field, is being reviewed by replay.
Oh, this is, of course, you don't have to worry about it. Oh, no. Well, there's the ball down there. Well, wait a minute. He controlled it initially, but then it looks like the ball was on the field.
further review. The play stands. Touchdown.
I was thrilled that he controlled it and then fell on the ball. You saw him get his hands under it. You saw him pull the ball up. And then his torso kind of came down, and the ball came between his torso and the field, and they ruled that he did have control of the ball by then. So, really kind of a moot point. Except it looks bad for, on Vince Evans' record that he threw an interception.
This is the official 2-minute warning. It comes with 1:54 remaining. And get ready for the Benson Boogie. And we don't mean the Raider linebacker.
Come on.
Hey, what did you want in a beer?
Come on.
You want a great beer that's not filling?
Well, come on.
Then let me show you everything you want a beer to be.
Oh, Miller Lite. Come on.
Tonight, allowing the Raiders just 102 yards. And for the season, a yield of only 255 per contest, second only to the Eagles.
What is their record? Except this year, 120 yards they held the Rams to this year. So it's not secure at this point with 1:54 remaining. The Raiders obviously going to come out throwing the football.
This is Napoleon McCallum, the ex-Navy star, bringing it back to the 18. And what's the play tonight without a flag? Unusual. There's one here. Johnny Greer has got more airtime tonight than Anthony Roberts. To the playoffs.
Holding 51 on the return team, on the run back. First down.
That's Aaron Wallace. So the Raiders, who had won 4 straight and saw a 5th slip away, now go home with a 2-game losing streak.
Two tough losses, as you pointed out, that one against Buffalo that they apparently had locked up, and Buffalo just kept coming at them until they finally won it in overtime, and now they lose embarrassingly here.
Here's Nick Bell. Well, now you're going to have a situation. You've got 2 teams who've been heading south the last couple of weeks, Kansas City and the Raiders, facing each other. And again, it's locked up. Kansas City and the Raiders will meet each other for the next 2 weeks.
It's kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
That happened before.
The way it worked out.
But no going in knowing that they're going to face each other.
Yeah.
2 consecutive weeks.
Well, I think we had a situation with Cleveland and Houston a couple of years ago. Somewhat similar. Second down and 2 at the 18-yard line with a little over a minute to go.
And we will not see anything exotic like trying to put that ball in the air. I know one thing, the Raiders getting ready to play the Chiefs at best solidified the middle of their defense because it was exploited big time tonight by New Orleans, who ran the ball between the tackles, not just effectively, almost at will. And needless to say, Kansas City, with guys like Christian Okoye and Harvey Williams, are coming right at you. And New Orleans coming into this game not noted really as a strong rushing team, somewhere around 15 or 16 in the league rushing.
Assuming Okoye is healthy, if not, you still have Barry Word going up against him next week. Raiders will head home. LA tonight only 118 total yards.
What a performance for this man tonight. After 6 weeks on the sidelines, Howie Long congratulating Bobby Ada. Well, for Jim Mara, for the Saints. He's off the schneid. Yeah. Well, he was a hurting man last night when we talked to him. Come on, Tom, you can do it. You can do it.
Oh, he's going to do it.
He's waiting for all the cameras to get into position. I can't, again, speak on behalf of Bobby Hebert and how good a football game he played tonight. After 6 weeks off, he was simply superb. Well, apparently Benson's going to do his boogie sometime later tonight. A little late for us. Yes, sir. Talk to you next week from San Francisco when the 49ers beat the